सेव किया था ना?
मैं सिर्फ इसलिए गया था क्योंकि उसने मुझे कॉल किया, that's it. But listen तो.
Save it for someone else.
जिंदगी में सेव करना जरूरी है, मगर जब बात पैसों की हो, सिर्फ सेविंग से काम नहीं चलेगा। इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट कीजिए और अपने सेविंग्स को आगे बढ़ने का मौका दीजिए।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
One more round of elections is over, so we can now future gaze. Let's begin with a question we raised in a national interest, of which I'll share a link with you. Exactly 3 months after Narendra Modi had been sworn in as Prime Minister in 2014. And the question was, have you ever seen a political leader who resembles his mask as much as Modi does? You've seen Modi masks all over. Modi masks became popular, say 2012 onwards, as he began to rise as the party's, BJP's national candidate for the prime ministership, right? That's when masks became very popular. Have you ever seen any other leader resemble his mask as much as Modi does? So as I just explained, this wasn't just a rhetorical question. On the other hand, it made a substantive argument about his politics and ideology, that the man you see is the man you get. We had seen ideological leaders or those representing various ideologies in power in the past. They talked about their ideological beliefs with passion when they were in opposition, but once in establishment, they toned it down. They moderated their views. Once in power, your own political beliefs were to be carried lightly on your sleeve. It applied to Vajpayee and Advani on the right, George Fernandes on the Lohiite left, and then to CPI's Indrajit Gupta and Chaturanga Mishra, who were members in H.D. Devegowda's first cabinet. They were from hard left. Constitution, institutions, and inclusivity in public office were all justifications for an ideological vacation or holiday. Narendra Modi broke this convention, or maybe hypocrisy, in his first few weeks. He might have demonstrated this earlier in 2011 when he refused to wear that Muslim prayer cap, making a substantive political point, not a symbolic one. Once he came to power, we saw it play out in ways that were central to his style of governance. Contrary to what we might have thought, that all right, once he comes to power, he will be just another prime minister walking the line in the center, but he wasn't that. Even the token Muslims or Christians in his cabinet, in constitutional positions, or even among his MPs in both houses in his party, vanished in the course of time very quickly. They were just a few, but they vanished very quickly. The customary iftars at the Prime Minister's house also vanished. His ministers and party leaders were quick to take the cue as well. The man was true to his ideology, would live by it, even flaunt it. Except he would rarely say anything rude about the minorities in general, in the normal course. That rule has been broken in specific circumstances, usually during election campaigns, especially in states where Hindu-Muslim polarization is a possibility. Since this latest round of election results gives us a good resting point to gaze into our politics over the next 16 months, it is important to assess if this approach has worked for Modi. Is he likely to persist with it? And if not, will he soften this approach or double up on it? So spectacularly successful as Modi's electoral politics been so far that you risk being called foolhardy for raising questions about it now. In the greatest humility, however, we must ask some questions. That's our job. There are two aspects to the BJP RSS ideology: nationalism, hard nationalism, and Hindutva. On the electoral efficacy of the first, there is less debate. It works. We have seen how dramatically Pulwama Balakot turned the 2019 election, and how severely so. Those raising questions about the raids, did the raids take place, how successful they were, etc., who was responsible for Pulwama, they were all punished by the voters. But that was a national election. We can't be so sure if Hindutva worked so decisively in any of the national elections as well, or that either nationalism or Hindutva work in state elections. To begin with the latest bit of evidence, this did not work in Himachal Pradesh. which is mostly Hindu, with lots of families having deep military ties, if not a family member in the armed forces right now, and deep BJP RSS roots as well. The party still failed to defy anti-incumbency even against a much weakened national rival, really without much resources. If the loss had been to a well-entrenched regional party like, say, the TMC in West Bengal, it would have been different. But in fact, this broke the BJP's post-2018 success rate of 92% when it came up against the Congress. Modi wasn't on the ticket, nationalism and Hindutva could not become the issues, so it became a normal election. For the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, his party began with a record of shambolic and corrupt performance. It tried to fight a rampant Aam Aadmi party by using the agencies and building a story of mega corruption, but it did not cut. Modi's name alone could not swing the issue and ideology did not matter. This enabled AAP to make the issue purely local, the garbage mountains of Bhalaswa and Ghazipur becoming its focal point. This has played out in state after state right since Modi's big win in 2014, his first big win in 2014. When the issue on which election is fought becomes regional or local, the BJP has a challenge. This challenge has become more serious as years have passed and his own party's regional leaders have become weaker. In fact, they've diminished. Most of them have become non-entities. This is what will worry Modi now going into 2023. Can he and his party turn Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh and then Telangana into campaigns fought on national issues? We have deliberately excluded Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh there because in those two states, the BJP will have the tailwind of anti-incumbency because Congress is in power. So we are leaving those aside. Now, if Rahul is still mostly going to be staying out of the campaigning, it is going to be that much tougher to make it purely a vote for Modi. The absence of a Modi versus Rahul binary is a big disadvantage for the BJP. What does Modi do next then? Rev up Hindutva plus of some kind? Or somehow revive hyper-nationalism again? How to delocalize politics will be Modi's big challenge in the coming year. The usual tropes are fading. Double engine ki sarkar, two engine train as we say, hauled by the same party in the center and at the state isn't working because people have seen that now. Think what are the chances this will work in Karnataka given how badly his party's government has performed there. Can Modi really seek votes for his party in Karnataka based on Bomai's performance? The use by date on the other trope that it's a vote against the opposition's quote-unquote 70-year misrule has also arrived. It cannot keep working 9 years after Modi and BJP have been in power. On Hindutva, your biggest missions, Article 370, the Ram Temple are over. The Uniform Civil Code is all there. It's being talked about. It's all there to talk about. And many of the BJP leaders at regional levels are talking about it. Like Himanta Biswa Sarma, for example, outgoing Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh, tried to make a big deal of it. Shivraj Singh Chauhan is, as are many other regional leaders. But we can't be sure the UCC issue has the same oomph as the Ram Temple or the status of Kashmir. In any case, triple talaq is done, so part of that UCC concern which the BJP's constituency had has been taken care of. This leaves hyper-nationalism. The altered global and regional realities have brought in new constraints on reviving a new nationalist fervor, new militarized nationalist fervor. Pakistan is in a freeze, partly because of its own internal disarray, military and economic vulnerabilities, its abandonment by the West, and stalwart ally China's distractedness because of Russia and Ukraine. You can still ratchet up a crisis with Pakistan by flicking your fingers. But do you really want to do that when the Chinese are sitting in Ladakh and they might respond in ways that you can't predict? There is a nationalist challenge and maybe, theoretically, an opportunity from China. But such is the wariness on it that only the External Affairs Minister and the Defense Minister occasionally talk about it in the most diplomatically mature and restrained manner. Nobody ups the ante on this. The Prime Minister himself does not even mention China as a culprit for anything. If anything, he went out of his way to resume conversation with Xi Jinping in Bali. China is no Pakistan. You cannot start something with China, anything. China is no Pakistan. You cannot start something, anything with China, and have half a chance of ending it by claiming victory, by declaring victory. Not even like the Pulwama Balakot episode, where both sides, India and Pakistan, could claim victory before their domestic audiences and be done with it. And of course, domestic audiences in both sides believed it. Which brings us back to the questions we began with, Narendra Modi and his ideology. Nearly 9 years have taught him that what wins him elections is only his personality and his face. There isn't one leader in his party whose mask its voters would wear today, with the exception of maybe Yogi Adityanath, who may be getting there. And nobody votes for the RSS. For 2024, for 2024, Modi is well positioned because the vote will be for him. These latest elections reaffirm that Modi, the man and the name, have overtaken his party and its mentor, the RSS. An almighty personality cult now is dwarfing an ideology 100 years in the making, if only for its vote-catching appeal.